just wish he knew. I just wish he knew.
Man, back at it again with the battle tactics and war strategies. With more Napoleonic wars. Know we covered a bunch of shit last time, but that was about Napoleon himself, more so than the wars or the individual battles therein. So now we get to get into the detail, the nitty-gritty. Pull up some stuff here while we get started. Alright. Weird how that ended up being, but alright. Alright, I think we got it figured out. Here we are. Sorry, that took me longer than usual. Terrible streamer. You're a terrible streamer. Get your act together, Damien. Anyways, let's get the fuck started. Why the hell not? Napoleonic Wars 1803 to 1815. Bada bing. Were a series of conflicts fought between the First French Empire under Napoleon Bonaparte and a fluctuating army of European coalitions. The wars originated in political forces arising from the French Revolution, 1789 to 1799, and from the French Revolutionary Wars, 1792 to 1802, and produced a period of French domination over continental Europe. The wars were categorized as 7 conflicts. 5 named after the coalitions that fought Napoleon, plus 2 named for their respective theaters. The War of the Third Coalition, the War of the Fourth Coalition, the War of the Fifth, the War of the Sixth, and the War of the Seventh Coalition, plus the Peninsular War and the French invasion of Russia, which we went over yesterday was a catastrophic failure for obvious reasons. We're going to go over it again, just a little bit more detail than yesterday. The first stage of the war broke out when Britain declared war on France on the 18th of May, 1803. Alongside the Third Coalition, in December 1805, Napoleon defeated the Allied Russo-Austrian army at Austerlitz. I have a picture of Austerlitz. Where's that one at? Austerschitz. I think that's this one. No. Nope, that's Leipzig. No. Well, I'll be a son of a biscuit. There it is. There it is. There's Napoleon's victory. Failure, thus forcing Austria to make peace. Concerned about increasing French power, Prussia led the creation of the Fourth Coalition, which resumed war in October 1806. Napoleon soon defeated the Prussians at Jena Austerstedt, and the Russians at Friedland, bringing an uneasy peace to the continent. The treaty had failed to end the tension, and war broke out again in 1809 with the Austrian-led Fifth Coalition. At first, the Austrians won a significant victory at Aspern-Essling, but were quickly defeated at Wagram. Hoping to isolate and weaken Britain economically through this conventional system, Napoleon launched an invasion of Portugal, the only remaining British ally in the continental Europe. After occupying Lisbon in November 1807, and with the bulk of French troops present in Spain, Napoleon seized the opportunity to turn against his former ally, depose the reigning Spanish royal family, and declare his brother King of Spain in 1808 as Jose the First. The fucking crazy guy. The Spanish and Portuguese thus revolted with British support, and expelled the French from Iberia in 1814 after 6 years of fighting. Concurrently, Russia, unwilling to bear the economic consequences of reduced trade, routinely violated the continental system, prompting Napoleon to launch a massive invasion of Russia in 1812. The resulting campaign ended in disaster for France and the near destruction of Napoleon's army. Encouraged by the defeat, Austria, Prussia, Sweden, and Russia formed the Sixth Coalition and began a new campaign against France, decisively defeating Napoleon at Leipzig. In October 1813, the Allies then invaded France from the east, while the Peninsular War spilled it over into southwestern France. Coalition troops captured Paris at the end of March 1814, forced Napoleon to abdicate in April, and exiled him to the island of Elba, and restored power to the Bourbons. Napoleon escaped in February 1815 and reassumed control of France for around 100 days. The hell is my 100 days? No, I don't know. I had one. I had a photo for it. We'll get to it. The Allies formed the Seventh Coalition, which defeated him at Waterloo. We were just on Waterloo pictures. Pfft, Waterloo. Look at that sad, angry man. Defeated. Most certainly. That is definitely the face of defeat. Yo, Fredo, what's going on? The Allies formed the Seventh Coalition, which defeated him at Waterloo in June 1815 and exiled him to the island of St. Helena, where he died 6 years later in 1821. Yep. The wars had profound consequences on global history, including the spread of nationalism and liberalism. L on the liberalism. Advancements in civil law, the rise of Britain as the world's foremost naval and economic power, the appearance of independence monuments in Spanish America, and the subsequent decline of the Spanish and Portuguese empires, the fundamental reorganization of German and Italian territories into larger states, and the introduction of radically new methods of conducting warfare. After the end of Napoleonic Wars, the Congress of Vienna redrew Europe's borders and brought a relative peace to the continent, lasting until the revolutions of 1848 and the Crimean War in 1853. Slight overview. Napoleon seized power in 1799, establishing a military dictatorship. There are numerous opinions on the date used, as the formal beginning of Napoleonic Wars, 18th of May 1803, is often used when Britain and France ended the only short period peace between 1792 and 1814. The Napoleonic Wars began with the War of the Third Coalition, which was the first of the coalition wars against the First French Republic after Napoleon's accession to leader of France. Britain ended the Treaty of Amiens. The Treaty of Amiens, I spelled it wrong, but whatever. Declaring war on France in May 1803. Among the reasons were Napoleon's changes to the international system in Western Europe, especially in Switzerland, Germany, Italy, and the Netherlands. Historian Frederick Keegan argues that Britain was irritated, in particular by Napoleon's assertion of control over Switzerland. Furthermore, Britons felt insulted when Napoleon stated that their country deserved no voice in European affairs, even though King George III was an elector of the Holy Roman Empire. For its part, Russia decided that the intervention of Switzerland indicated that Napoleon was not looking toward a peaceful resolution of his differences with the other European powers. The British hastily enforced a naval blockade of France to starve it of resources. Napoleon responded with economic embargoes against Britain and sought to eliminate Britain's continental allies to break the coalitions arrayed against him. The so-called Continental System formed a league of armed neutrality to disrupt the blockade and enforce free trade with France. The British responded by capturing the Danish fleet, breaking up the League, and later secured dominance over the seas, allowing it to freely continue its strategy. Napoleon won the War of the Third Coalition at Austerlitz, forcing the Austrian Empire out of the war. And formally dissolving the Holy Roman Empire. Within months, Prussia declared war, triggering a war of the Fourth Coalition. This war ended disastrously for Prussia, which had been defeated and occupied within 19 days of the beginning of the campaign. Napoleon subsequently defeated Russia at Friedland, creating powerful client states in Eastern Europe and ending the Fourth Coalition. Concurrently, the refusal of Portugal to commit to the continental system and Spain's failure to maintain it led to the Peninsular War and the outbreak of the War of the Fifth Coalition. The French occupied Spain and formed a Spanish client kingdom, ending the alliance between the two. Heavy British involvement in the Iberian Peninsula soon followed, while a British effort to capture Antwerp failed. Napoleon oversaw the situation in Iberia, defeating the Spanish and expelling the British from the peninsula. Austria, eager to recover territory lost during the War of the Third Coalition, invaded France's client states in Eastern Europe in April 1809. Napoleon defeated the Fifth Coalition at Wagram. Plans to invade British North America pushed the United States to declare war on Britain in the War of 1812. But it did not become an ally of France. Grievances over control of Poland and Russia's withdrawal from the continental system led to Napoleon invading Russia in June 1812. The invasion was an unmitigated disaster for Napoleon. Unmitigated disaster for Napoleon. Scorched earth tactics, desertion, French strategic failures, and the onset of Russian winter compelled Napoleon to retreat with massive losses. Napoleon suffered further setbacks. French power in the Iberian Peninsula was broken at the Battle of Vittoria. The following summer, and the new alliance began, the War of the Sixth Coalition. The coalition defeated Napoleon at Leipzig, precipitating his fall from power and eventual abdication on April 6th, 1814. The victors exiled Napoleon to Elba and restored the Bourbon monarchy. Napoleon escaped from Elba in 1815, gathering enough support to overthrow the monarchy of Louis XVIII, triggering a seventh and final coalition against him. Napoleon was then decisively defeated at Waterloo, and he abdicated again on the 22nd of June, when he was sent to the island, and they did unspeakable things to his body after he was dead. Yeah, failed autopsy short. Go watch it. It's fucking interesting. The Bourbon monarchy was once again restored, and the victors began the Congress of Vienna to restore the peace in Europe. As a direct result of the war, the Kingdom of Prussia rose to become a great power, while Great Britain, with its unequaled royal navy and growing empire, became the world's dominant superpower, beginning the Pax Britannica. The Holy Roman Empire had been dissolved, and the philosophy of nationalism that emerged early in the war contributed greatly to the later unification of the German states and those of the Italian peninsula. The war began, and Iberia greatly weakened Spanish power. In the east, the Spanish Empire began to unravel. Spain would lose nearly all of its American possessions by 1833. The Portuguese Empire also shrank, with Brazil declaring independence in 1822. Oops. Ain't that a bitch? The war revolutionized European warfare. The application of mass conscription and total war led to campaigns of unprecedented scale. As whole nations committed all of their economic and industrial resources to a collective war effort. Tactically, the French army had redefined the role of artillery, while Napoleon emphasized mobility to offset numerical disadvantages, and aerial surveillance was used for the first time in warfare. The highly successful Spanish guerrillas demonstrated a capability of people driven by fervent nationalism against an occupying force. Due to the longevity of the wars, the extent of Napoleon's conquests, and the popularity of the ideals of French Revolution, the period had a deep impact on European social culture. Many subsequent revolutions, such as that of Russia, looked to the French as a source of inspiration, while its core founding tenets greatly expanded the arena of human rights and shaped modern political philosophies in use today. Nailed it. Alright, let me look for the next relevant picture. Yes, nailed it. The outbreak of the French Revolution had been received with great alarm by the rulers of Europe's continental powers, further exacerbated by the execution of Louis XVI and the overthrow of the French monarchy. Why, yes. See, now we're going back to where it all started. In 1793, Austria, the Kingdom of Sardinia, the Kingdom of Naples, Prussia, the Kingdom of Spain, and the Kingdom of Great Britain formed the first coalition to curtail the growing power of revolutionary France. Measures such as mass conscription, military reforms, and total war allowed France to defeat the coalition despite the concurrent civil war in France. Napoleon, Then a general of the French Revolutionary Army forced the Austrians to sign the Treaty of Campo Formio, leaving only Great Britain opposed to the fledgling French Republic. A second coalition was formed in 1798 by the Great Britain, Austria, Naples, and the Ottoman Empire, the Papal States, Portugal, Russia, and Sweden. The French Republic, under the Directory, suffered from heavy levels of corruption and internal strife. The new republic also lacked funds, no longer enjoying the services of Lazare Carnot, the Minister of War, who had guided France to its victories during the early stages of the Revolution. Bonaparte, commander of the army d'Italie, in the latter stages of the First Coalition, had launched a campaign in Egypt, intending to disrupt British control of India. Pressed from all sides, the Republic suffered a string of successive defeats against the revitalized enemies who were supported by Britain's financial help. Bonaparte returned to France from Egypt on the 23rd of August, 1799, his campaign there having failed. He seized control of the French government on November 9th, in a bloodless coup d'etat, replacing the Directory with the Consulate and transforming the Republic into a de facto dictatorship. He further reorganized the French military forces, establishing a large reserve army positioned to support campaigns on the Rhine or in Italy. Russia had already been knocked out of the war, and under Napoleon's leadership, the French decisively defeated the Austrians in June 1800. Crippling Austrian capabilities in Italy. Austria was definitively defeated that December by Moreau's forces in Bavaria. The Austrian defeat was sealed by the Treaty of Luneville early that following year, further compelling the British to sign the Treaty of Amiens with France, establishing a tenuous peace. No consensus exists as to when the French Revolutionary Wars ended and the Napoleonic Wars began. Possible dates include the 9th of November 1799, when Bonaparte seized power on 18 Brumaire, the date according to the Republican calendar then in use. 18th of May 1803, when Britain and France ended the one short period of peace between 1792 and 1814, or the 2nd of December 1804, when Bonaparte crowned himself emperor. British historians occasionally refer to the nearly continuous period of warfare from 1792 to 1815 as the Great French War, or as the final phase of the Anglo-French Second Hundred Years' War, spanning the period 1689 to 1815. Historian Mike Rapport suggested using the term French Wars to unambiguously describe the entire period from 1792 to 1815. In France, the Napoleonic Wars were generally integrated with French Revolutionary Wars, la guerre de la Révolution et de l'Empire. I'm not French, nor do I speak French, so I hope I nailed it. German historiography may count the War of the Second Coalition, during which Napoleon had seized power, as the Erster Napoleonischer Krieg, the First Napoleonic War. In Dutch historiography, it is common to refer to the 7 major wars between 1792 and 1815 as coalition wars, referring to the first 2 as the French Revolution Wars. Napoleon's tactics. Napoleon was and remains famous for his battlefield victories, and historians have spent enormous attention in analyzing them. In 2008, Donald Sutherland wrote, "The ideal Napoleonic battle was to manipulate the enemy into an unfavorable position through a maneuver and deception. Force him to commit his main forces and reserves to the main battle and then undertake an enveloping attack with uncommitted or reserved troops on the flank or rear. Such a surprise attack would either produce devastating effect on morale or force him to weaken his main battle line. Either way, the enemy's own impulsiveness began the process by which even a smaller French army could defeat the enemy's forces one by one." Nailed it. After 1807, Napoleon's creation of a highly mobile, well-armed artillery force gave artillery usage an increased tactical importance. Napoleon, rather than relying on infantry to wear away the enemy's defenses, could now use massed artillery as spearhead to pound a break in the enemy's line. Once that was achieved, he sent in infantry and cavalry. Britain was irritated by several French actions following the Treaty of Amiens. Bonaparte annexed Piedmont and Elba and made himself president of the Italian Republic, a state in northern Italy that France had set up, and failed to evacuate Holland, as it had agreed to do in the treaty. France then continued to interfere with British trade despite peace having been made, and complained about Britain harboring certain individuals and not cracking down on the anti-French press. Malta was captured by Britain during the war and was subject to complex arrangement in the 10th article of the Treaty of Amiens, where it was to be restored to the Knights of St. John with a Neapolitan garrison and placed under the guarantee of the third powers. The weakening of the Knights of St. John by the confiscation of their assets in France and Spain, along with the delays in obtaining guarantees, prevented the British from evacuating it after 3 months as stipulated in the treaty. The Helvetic Republic was set up by France when it invaded Switzerland in 1798. France had withdrawn its troops, but violent strife broke out against the government, which many Swiss saw as overly centralized. Bonaparte reoccupied the country in October 1802. Hey, Shane, let's go! And imposed a compromise settlement. This caused widespread outrage in Britain, which protested that this was a violation of the Treaty of Luneville, although continental powers were unprepared to act. The British decided to send an agent to help the Swiss obtain supplies, and also ordered their military not to return Cape Colony to Holland, as they had committed to do in the Treaty of Amiens. Swiss resistance collapsed before anything could be accomplished, and after a month, Britain countermanded the orders to not restore Cape Colony. At the same time, Russia finally joined the guarantee regarding Malta. Concerned that there would be hostilities when Bonaparte found out that Cape Colony had been retained, the British began to procrastinate on the evacuation of Malta. In January 1803, a government paper in French published a report from the commercial agent which noted the ease with which Egypt could be conquered. The British seized on this to demand satisfaction and security before evacuating Malta, which was a convenient stepping stone to Egypt. France disclaimed any desire to seize Egypt and asked what sort of satisfaction was required, but the British were unable to give a response. There was still no thought of going to war. Prime Minister Henry Addington publicly affirmed that Britain was in a state of peace. My ass, the Swiss didn't have their knives? They were lost. Yes, they were indeed lost. Lost without their army knives. In early March 1803, the Addington Ministry received word that Cape Colony had been reoccupied by the British Army in accordance with the orders which had subsequently been countermanded. On the 8th of March, they ordered military preparations to guard against possible French retaliation and justified them by falsely claiming that it was only in response to French preparations and that they were conducting serious negotiations with France. In a few days, it was known that Cape Colony had been surrendered in accordance with the counter orders, but it was too late. Bonaparte berated the British ambassador in front of 200 spectators over the military preparations. He berated them. He said, "Fuck you guys. Fuck you guys, huh? Huh? What are you gonna do?" Whoa. That was not what I was trying to do. Holy shit. Clip it. Oh, just kidding. Look at that face.
Huh? What are you gonna do, Britain? I'm gonna come for you. And when I do, it's gonna be bad, see? It's gonna be fucking bad.
Shit. The Addington Ministry realized they would face an inquiry over their false reasons for the military preparation and during April unsuccessfully attempted to secure the port of William Pitt to shield them from damage. In the same month, the ministry issued an ultimatum to France demanding a retention of Malta for at least 10 years, the permanent acquisition of the island of Lampedusa from the Kingdom of Sicily, and the evacuation of Holland. They also offered to recognize French gains in Italy if they evacuated Switzerland and compensated the King of Sardinia for his territorial losses. France offered to place Malta in the hands of Russia to satisfy British concerns, pull out of Holland, and when Malta was evacuated, and form a convention to give satisfaction to British on other issues. The British falsely denied that Russia had made an offer, and their ambassador left Paris. Desperate to avoid a war, Bonaparte sent a secret offer where he agreed to let Britain retain Malta if France could occupy the Otranto Peninsula in Naples. All efforts were futile, and Britain declared war on the 18th of May, 1803. Man, would you look at that? Would you look at that? All right, war between Britain and France. Let's fucking go, buddy. Britain ended the uneasy truce created by the Treaty of Amiens, which it had declared war on, when it had declared war on France in May 1803. The British were increasingly angered by Napoleon's reordering of the international system in Western Europe, especially in Switzerland, Germany, Italy, and the Netherlands. Kagan argues that Britain was especially alarmed by Napoleon's assertion of control over Switzerland. The British felt insulted when Napoleon said it deserved no voice in European affairs and sought to restrict the London newspapers that were vilifying him. Propaganda. It's all there every time. Every time. Could you imagine? I know that, Adolf wasn't necessarily born yet, but I'll guarantee he would have been the fucking go-to guy to be compared You know what I mean? In comparison, like, oh, Napoleon, he's this guy. I wonder who they compared people to back in the day. Was it like Satan? Did they not have anybody else to compare to, so it was like just the devil? I'm actually genuinely fucking curious. I'm gonna have to look into some of this propaganda so I can find out. Or whether they were just calling him himself out, like, Napoleon, he's evil. Britain had a sense of loss of control, as well as a loss of markets, and it was worried by Napoleon's possible threat to its overseas colonies. Maclean argued that Britain went to war in 1803 out of a mixture of economic motives and national neuroses, and irrational anxiety about Napoleon's motives and intentions. Maclean concluded that it proved to be the right choice for Britain because, in the long run, Napoleon's intentions were hostile to British national interest. Napoleon was not ready for war, and so this was the best time for Britain to stop them. Britain seized upon the Malta issue, refusing to follow the terms of the Treaty of Amiens and evacuate the island. The deeper British grievance was their perception that Napoleon was taking personal control of Europe, making the international system unstable and forcing Britain to the sidelines. Numerous scholars have argued that Napoleon's aggressive posture made him enemies and cost him potential allies. As late as 1808, the Continental Powers affirmed most of his gains and titles, but the continuing conflict with Britain led him to start the Peninsular War and invasion of Russia, which many scholars see as a dramatic miscalculation. Yeah, it was pretty bad. The bourgeois, the Habsburgs, that's who I'd be comparing people to. Maybe deposed kings. You're probably not wrong. I mean, like, you're probably not wrong. There was one serious attempt to negotiate peace with France during the war made by Charles James Fox in 1806. The British wanted to retain their overseas conquests and have Hanover restored to George III in exchange for accepting French conquests on the continent. The French were willing to cede Malta, Cape Colony, Tobago, and French Indian posts to Britain, but wanted to obtain Sicily in exchange for the restoration of Hanover, a condition which the British refused. Unlike its many coalition partners, Britain remained at war during the period of the Napoleonic Wars, protected by naval supremacy. Oh man, there it is, that naval supremacy. In the words of Admiral Jervis to the House of Lords, I do not say, my lords, that the French will not come. I say only that they will not come by sea. Ha! Ah, that's kind of fucking funny, the legend. Shit, fucking Brits, dude. Britain did not have to spend the entire war defending itself and could thus focus on supporting its embattled allies, maintaining low-intensity land warfare on a global scale for over a decade. The British government paid out a large amount of money to other European states so that they could pay their armies in the field against France. These payments are colloquially known as the Golden Cavalry of St. George. The British Army provided a long-term support to the Spanish Rebellion in the Peninsular War of 1808 to 1814. Assisted by Spanish guerrilla tactics, Anglo-Portuguese forces under Arthur Wellesley supported the Spanish, who campaigned successfully against the French armies, eventually driving them from Spain and allowing Britain to invade southern France. By 1815, the British Army played a central role in the final defeat of Napoleon at Waterloo. Damn, the British be dead hooking everyone who fought Napoleon. Not even kidding. That's hilarious. All right, now, we helped you out during Napoleon. Come on, we're gonna need that kickback. Where's the money at? What's up? What's up? There's a little bit of interest, you know. You know. Oh. Beyond minor naval actions against British imperial interests, the Napoleonic Wars were much less global in their scope than preceding conflicts such as the 7 Years' War, which historians term a world war. Well, then what the fuck was World War I? Was it actually World War II? And World War II was World War III, which means the next one's gonna be World War IV? Kind of dumb shit. In response to the naval blockade of the French coasts enacted by the British government on the 16th of May 1806, Napoleon issued the Berlin Decree on November 21st, 1806, which brought into effect the continental system. Now we gotta go all the way back to the blockade. The good old blockade. Everybody loves blockade. Everybody loves a good old blockade. This policy aimed to eliminate the threat from Britain by closing French-controlled territory to its trade. Britain maintained a standing army of 220,000 at the height of the Napoleonic Wars, of whom less than 50% were available for campaigning. The rest were necessary for garrisoning Ireland and the colonies and providing security for Britain. France's strength peaked at around 2,500,000. Holy shit. Good evening, Amanda. Welcome in. That's fucking nuts. 2,500,000 full-time and part-time soldiers, including several 100,000 National Guardsmen, whom Napoleon could draft into the military if necessary. Holy shit, that's a lot of French forces. My goodness. God damn. Both nations enlisted large numbers of sedentary militia who were suited for campaigning and were mostly employed to release regular forces for active duty. The Royal Navy disrupted France's extra-continental trade by seizing and threatening French shipping and colonial possessions, but could do nothing about France's trade with the major continental economies and posed little threat to French territory in Europe. France's population and agricultural capacity greatly outstripped Britain's. Britain had the greatest industrial capacity in Europe, and its mastery of the seas allowed it to build up considerable economic strength through trade. This ensured that France could never consolidate its control over Europe in peace. Many in the French government believed that cutting Britain off from the continent would end its economic influence over Europe and isolate it. Dang. Financing the war. A key element in British success was its ability to mobilize the nation's industrial and financial resources and apply them to defeating France. Though the UK had a population of approximately 16 million against France's 30 million, the French numerical advantage was offset by British subsidies that paid for many of the Austrian and Russian soldiers, peaking about 450,000 men in 1813. Under the Anglo-Russian Agreement of 1803, Britain paid a subsidy of 1.5 million euros for every 100,000 Russian soldiers in the field. Holy shit. That's wild. I wonder if that's today's money or if that's back in the day's money. Because if it was 1.5 million for every 100,000 Russian soldiers, they paid like a quarter of the amount that the United States paid for the Louisiana Territory, which is like a third of the size of our country now. That's fucking wild. Holy shit, Britain was just making it rain, bro. What the fuck? Dude, 2.5 million is the size of the current total United States force for 1/10 of the population. That's insane. Yeah, I'm telling you. British national output continued to be strong, and the well-organized business sector channeled products into what the military needed. Britain used its economic power to expand the Royal Navy, doubling the number of frigates, adding 50% more large ships of the line, and increasing the number of sailors from 15,000 to 133,000 in 8 years after the war began in 1793. France saw its navy shrink by more than half. The smuggling of finished products into the continent and undermined French efforts to weaken the British economy by cutting off markets. Subsidies to Russia and Austria kept them in the war. The British budget in 1814 reached 98 million, including 10 million for the Royal Navy, 40 million for the Army, 10 million for the Allies, and 38 million as interest on the national debt, which had soared to 679 million, more than double the GDP. Holy shit. Britain was all in. Oh my god. The debt was supported by hundreds of thousands of investors and taxpayers. Despite the higher taxes on land and the new income tax, the cost of the war amounted to 831 million. In contrast, the French financial system was inadequate, and Napoleon's forces had to rely in part on requisitions from conquered lands. Holy shit! Britain, that's a lot of money! Like, fuck! They were invested! Fucking invested in that, like... We will pay all of the proxies. We don't care. Just don't let this guy get anywhere. Holy shit, dude. Wild. Fucking wild. From London in 1813 to 1815, Nathan Meyer Rothschild, oh shit, was crucial in almost single-handedly financing the British war effort. I'm gonna read that again. From London in 1813 to 1815, Nathan Mayer Rothschild was crucial in almost single-handedly financing the British war effort, organizing shipment of bullion to the Duke of Wellington's armies across Europe, as well as arranging the payment of British financial subsidies to their continental allies. Holy shit. Well, let me just ask a question real quick. Was it really the UK that was invested, or was it Rothschild that was invested? I wonder who else he was paying. Was he paying both sides? Was he playing both sides? 100k British pounds from 1820 would be worth 9.4 million-ish. Makes sense. But that's fucking crazy. That's wild. Holy shit, dude. Alright, let's talk about some of this. Because it's not until the next episode. The next episode is the War of the Third and the War of the Fourth Coalition. Because this is the end of this episode. That's all I have. Went through it rather quickly. It's crazy. But we learned a lot about the motherfucking British and their war machine in the 1800s. Holy shit. I mean, they had the strongest navy for a long time, right? The UK had like the craziest fucking navy for like the longest time. If it was in the ocean, it was pretty much owned by the UK. I mean, Spain kinda, For a little while, they had some shit going on, but that was about it. They didn't really have too much. France did. France had a lot going on until it didn't. It's amazing what one little island could accomplish as far as like taking over most of the fucking world at the time. It's wild. Risk. It looks like footage from the game Risk. No, it's not footage from the game Risk. It is footage from the game Total War. Oh wait, I think it's Napoleon Total War. I think that's the name of the game. 78 billion. That sounds low. Kinda. From today's perspective, yeah, but they didn't. You gotta think about it. They didn't really have like fucking. Oh, we're paying for 80 F-22s. Shit, dude, that's already skyrocketing the price right there on its own. And that's not even the ammunition. That's just the plane. Like, that's why shit skyrockets so high today, right? It's because the technology costs a lot more than fucking, you know, the, like, simply manufactured shit back in the day. Muzzleloader rifles and shit. Over so soon? No, we're chilling for a minute. I didn't get to chill last night. I kind of fucking started a little bit later, and then it took me forever to get through the entirety of Napoleon's life from start to finish. But now that we're able to get into the wars a little bit more in detail, right? We can kind of have fun with it. You made it, Ben Talk. Yeah, it is low because math. 78 trillion. Yeah, exactly. What's left of my mind has made it. Aw, darn. Damien, over so soon? No. Yeah, I'm hanging out for a minute. I ain't going nowhere right this very second. You know what's funny? We went over yesterday that Napoleon was like terrible at speaking French. I wonder if he like sounded like a redneck to all the rest of them, just like completely not understandable unless you're from that area. Fucking boomhauer over here and shit. Oh, man. So, the beginning was the French Revolutionary Wars. While we're not necessarily getting into those in detail, still kind of relevant. I mean, Napoleon had some kind of a benefit over it, right? It wasn't like that's how he rose to the ranks, was displaying his skill. But we're focusing on his tactics when he was in power and had full control. One of those tactics was, I think somebody pointed this out, I can't remember who, but that they marched 1.5 times faster than the normal soldiers at the time. Let me reread this quote for you guys. So, Donald Sutherland, 2008, wrote, "The ideal Napoleonic battle was to manipulate the enemy into an unfavorable position through maneuver and deception, force him to commit his main force, and reserve the main battle, and then undertake an enveloping attack with the uncommitted or reserved troops on the flank or the rear. Such a surprise attack would either produce a devastating effect on morale or force him to weaken his main battle line. Either way, the enemy's own impulsiveness began the process by which even a smaller French army could defeat the enemy's forces one by one. Like a true ninja, manipulate the enemy into an unfavorable position through maneuver and deception." Nailed it. He was the French 19th century equivalent of Donald Trump. Literally. Nailed it, that's really funny. Militarily brilliant. On another level. I took French all through school and don't really remember any of it. I took German. German was the language I took in school. And I remember most of it. Most of it. Bintok took Spanish. As a Canadian, I can tell you French is impossible to remember unless you are immersed in it. Yeah, I can imagine. Because a lot of the words sound the fucking exact same. Bintok, honestly, that would have been smarter to take. I probably would have been using it a lot more. Yeah, I could imagine. I do use it from time to time now. If you lived in Canada, it would have helped more. Yep, that's true. That's true. French would have helped more in Canada than it would have, than it would here in America, because we have a lot of Spanish speakers, and my dumbass was just like German, because why the fuck not? Ha ha! Shit. I figured French and Spanish. I was like, man, everybody takes French. Everybody takes fucking Spanish. I'm taking German. Taking fucking German. It was the only other language that they offered in high school, so I didn't really have another option. But it was required to take 2 years of a foreign language. So, German it was. So far, 3 different. Yeah, what did you study, Shane? Did you have a different or a second language? I speak 4. 3 fluently, but 4 pretty well. I understand a lot of Russian. Pretty fluent in Swedish. Less fluent in German, but still fluent enough to get by. And I speak English just about every fucking day. They offered French, Japanese, and Spanish? Well, why didn't you take Japanese? That's awesome. I'd have taken Japanese. That'd been cool to take. Yeah, I liked German. German was fun. It was a fun class to take. I mean, we just fucked around the whole time. It wasn't like we fucking really did anything useful. I mean, I learned a lot. Don't get me wrong. I learned a lot, but I think a lot of that was because most of the learning was just stupid games that the teacher had us play. It was just like dumb memory games. And they worked, though. Like, shout outs to my German teacher in high school, Frau Lautzenheiser. She was a fucking G. Haha, fucking G. Yeah, she was cool. Cool teacher. Man. Shoot. That was a long ass time ago now that I think about it. Fuck. Holy shit. Oh geez, Japanese seems really difficult. I would have failed that class. I would imagine French is more difficult than Japanese. I mean, I know quite a bit of Japanese, but I don't know if I know enough to, like, talk to somebody. Like, if they were talking at any rate faster than, like, a slow rate of talking, I don't think I would understand much of what they were saying. I don't speak it enough. But it was like, one of the languages I really, really wanted to learn when I was a kid, and I had to fucking kind of learn it myself. Or be taught by, like, personal tutors, not fucking school. There were Spanish kids taking Spanish with me that already spoke it fully. Yeah, that's an easy A. They were teaching people how to say all the dirty words. I could imagine. I mean, we still got to learn German slang and, cuss words too. Most of which are actually kind of funny. Yep, it's fucking wild to me how many people were like, yeah, no, fuck this Napoleon guy. And then after he died, somebody was like, let's cut off his penis and put it in a museum. Like, how fucking wild. Wild. Let's go over something else. So, the use of military intelligence is fucking important. Probably one of the most important aspects of war in general is intelligence. That's why we have multiple intelligence agencies and we rely on our allies' intelligence agencies, which I don't think is necessarily a good thing because I have a thing about allies. Hold on, before I go into intelligence, I have a thing about allies, right? Having gone in pretty in-depth and researching a bunch of this shit, you start to realize that alliances don't mean shit. They don't mean shit at all. You could be allies one moment, the wind blows the wrong direction, and somebody else smells your fart, and now you're worst enemies with each other. Worst enemies. Hey, Plumpy, what's going on? Where the hell is my mouse? Somewhere around here. There we go. You do remember something along the lines of a study that said if you speak English that you can learn German first since it's super easy to pick up. Yeah, it is pretty easy. The boner part, yes, the boner part that got lobbed off and displayed in a museum. When I was actually in class, I was decent. I got a C. My teacher really liked me, though I don't know if that made my grade better. I ditched a lot of school. Yeah, I didn't ditch any school. I aced that shit. I graduated a year early. Oh, Shane, what language did you take in school? We're curious. Hey, Plumpy. Yeah, hey, Plumpy. I was smoking in elementary school. We were required to take French. In high school, no middle school in your district. City was too small. You could opt for French or Spanish. Nice. Not much. If you wanted to, I wanted to jump on cam if that's cool. I don't do panels, man. Awesome, Shane. Now we know. Yeah, I don't do panels. I do not do the panel thing. I may hop on a panel from time to time. Okay, so here, let me explain that too. I might hop on a panel, right? Like verbal combat on Fridays, but that's like for me. That's my selfish, like assholey me, right? That's taking me time. I have 2 businesses, and I have a small farm that I work on the daily. That's why my streams are at 12:30 at fucking night to start, and they end before 3 a.m. so that I can get the slightest semblance of fucking sleep, right? So, like, I go on verbal combat to kind of let off some steam and just hang out, right? I live out in the middle of nowhere. I ain't got the opportunity to hang out with people all the time. I'd just much rather fucking, pop up on a panel, hang out for fucking a couple hours, and then let that be that, right? Unless I have something extremely relevant to say, then, like, I'll hop up on a panel, but that's if I'm asked to, and if I have something absolutely relevant to the topic. Otherwise, I'm not hopping up on panel. Like, I've seen one thing consistent in the panel community, and that is a shit ton of drama that I'm just not willing to assert myself into, I cannot stand drama. That's why I moved out to the middle of nowhere. I lived in Southern California too long. And that's all that's fueled there is drama. It's just a bunch of fucking crybaby bullshit that I don't want to deal with. So, I avoid it like the plague. Except for Friday nights, when you'll catch me on verbal combat. Aside from that, I try to bring value to the community by doing a shit ton of research and then talking about war. And then trying to map it onto today. Because I think there's a lot of relevant shit. A lot of propaganda that's relevant. A lot of things that go overlooked in our current political landscape. There's a lot of things that should be paid attention to that aren't, and I feel by doing this series I could bring some kind of value and illuminate some of these issues and some of these things that go relatively unnoticed because of all the blinding propaganda that's forced down our necks every single fucking day by literally everything. Cool beans. Damien is the bomb. That's awesome. Thank you. That's his guilty pleasure. Yes, it is. Verbal combat is my guilty pleasure. Word. Understandable. Yes, thank you. Oh, I agree. Yes, me too. Great guy. Thank you. Can get with that. Pretty drama-free small-town USA here as well. Hell yeah, that's what I'm talking about. It's nothing like small-town USA. No matter where I go, I'll always be away from a city. I did that for fucking 30 years I lived in a city. Holy shit, fuck all that noise. Never again. I'll live kinda within like 60 to 100 miles of a fucking major city, but I'm not living in one. Oh man. Just what the fuck. Anyways, my view on allies, right? Yeah, okay. So, as far as world governments are concerned, there are no allies. There are only enemies of my current enemies in the struggle for power, superiority. That's it. Allies are weak. Alliances are weak all throughout history. They're super weak. Everybody is self-serving. I heard the most amazing thing tonight. Shout outs to Anson Knowles. He described the world perfectly. If you want to see what anarchy looks like, just look at the world as a collective. Look at how the governments operate with one another. Right? Because that's a real representation of anarchy, and it's fucking wild as shit. Fucking wild as shit. So, that being said, right? I'll get back into the use of military intelligence and why it's fucking relevant. Keep on keeping on, yep. Illuminate things such as the location of Napoleon's zombie wiener. Dude, Shane told us where it was. Shane knows where the zombie wiener is. It was a well-kept secret. Well, apparently not anymore. Some chick's got it hanging on her fucking fireplace. It's a giant dick sitting there. It's a conversation piece. We talked about this at the end of last stream. Dude, on the note of propaganda, I unfollowed 3 people on X, and now my timeline is almost a ghost town. It's wonderful. I can actually see news relevant to you again. No kidding. You're not even joking. It's forced. It's literally forced down your neck at all times. You can't unsee it. Unfortunately, there is no way to get around the fact that even what I am addressing is propagandized information because it's written by the victors. And the victorious always warp history in their favor every single time so that they don't look like the fucking douchebags. So, while I do try to bring the utmost accuracy, we all have to recognize that there is still a level of propagandized information, right? What do I think about the exploding pagers thing? I didn't even hear about that. What the fuck is the exploding pagers thing? What the hell? Exploding pagers thing. LMAO. Unless the ally is actually not an ally, but an extension of the same country pretending to be a different country, but decisions are made by the same people. Yep, exactly, Ben Talk. I know exactly what you're saying there. Yep, exactly. 100%. 100%. Shane, do you secretly own it? No comment? What do you use it for? Crack me up, Shane. Bro! Like I said, it's a conversation starter. Anyways, use of military intelligence. Intelligence played a pivotal factor throughout the Napoleonic Wars and could pretty much every war throughout history, but we'll stick to Napoleon because that's what we're fucking talking about. and could very well have changed the tide of war. The use and misuse of military intelligence dictated the course of many major battles during the Napoleonic Wars. Some of the major battles that were dictated by the use of intelligence include the Battle of Waterloo, Battle of Leipzig, Battle of Salamanca, and the Battle of Vittoria. A major exception to the greater use of superior military intelligence to claim victory was the Battle of Jena in 1806. At the Battle of Jena, even Prussian superior military intelligence was not enough to counter the sheer military force of Napoleon's armies. The use of intelligence varied greatly across the major world powers of the war. Napoleon at this time had more supply of intelligence given to him than any French general before him. However, Napoleon was not an advocate of military intelligence at this time, as he often found it unreliable and inaccurate when compared to his own preconceived notions of the enemy. Sometimes you do have to trust your instinct, because people are fucking wild. You gotta think about the telephone game, right? And I'll guarantee you Napoleon knew exactly what he was, what that means. One person tells somebody, somebody else tells somebody, and the message gets warped over time. So he's like, there's a level of inaccuracy to this, and I'm not going to take the time to figure it out. I know these people do this, and from, what I know about them already, I can assume this, this, and this. And that's how I'm going to operate, off of what I know, not what, potentially could be false information that leads me into a situation where I wind up at my own fucking defeat. Two days in a row now. Apparently it was explosive placed in batteries. Holy shit. Are you serious? Like actual terror? It was intentional, Shane? That's my question. It was intentional? Fucking wild. Napoleon rather studied his enemy via domestic newspapers, diplomatic publications, maps, and prior documents of military engagements in the theaters of war in which he would operate. Let's fucking go. He's like, I want insider shit. I don't want what this guy told me. I'm gonna go look at them. I'm gonna look at their history. I'm gonna look at their shit. I'm gonna find out the real source. I'm gonna follow the money. Oh, ha ha, so to speak, right? It was this stout and consistent study of the enemy which made Napoleon the military mastermind of his time, whereas his opponents, Britain, Austria, Prussia, and Russia, were much more reliant on traditional intelligence-gathering methods, and were much more quickly and willing to act on them. The part I find deplorable is that there were no judgment made on when to detonate, so things were exploding in markets. Yes, it was intentional. Holy shit, dude. What the fuck? I'm gonna have to look that up. After I'm done with this, I'll look it up and we'll go over it for a second. What the hell? What the hell? The methods of intelligence during these wars were to include the information of vast and complex networks of corresponding agents, code-breaking, and cryptanalysis. The greatest cipher to be used to hide military operations during this time was known as the Great Paris Cipher, used by French. However, thanks to the hard work of the British codebreakers like George Scoville, the British were able to crack French ciphers and gain vast amounts of military intelligence on Napoleon and his armies. French diplomat Talleyrand served as a source of intelligence for the coalition powers against Napoleon. Damn it. At the Congress of Erfurt in September through October 1808, Talleyrand secretly counseled Tsar Alexander. Alexander's attitude toward Napoleon was one of apprehensive opposition. Talleyrand believed Napoleon would eventually destroy the empire he'd worked to build across multiple rulers. After his resignation in 1807 from the ministry, Talleyrand began to accept bribes from hostile powers to betray Napoleon's secrets. Now you see why I said what I said about allies, right? Like, on a whim, you have asshole. You have this fucking asshole who thinks he's gonna fucking... I keep hearing you call him Taliban. That's what he should be named. Shit, man. The guy's a deceiving fuck. Right gets targeted. It's a little nuts. Oh, yeah. All right. Let's check that out. What the fuck was that? All right. Exploding pagers. Wow. First thing that pops the fuck up. Wouldn't you know it? Holy shit. All right. Let's see. Second wave. Lebanon is rocked again by exploding devices as Israel declares a new phase of war. Walkie-talkies and solar equipment exploded in Beirut and other parts of Lebanon on Wednesday in an apparent second wave of attacks targeting devices a day after pagers used by Hezbollah blew up. State media and officials for a militant group said at least 20 people were killed and more than 450 wounded in the second wave, the health ministry said. The attacks, which were widely believed to be carried out by Israel targeting Hezbollah but have also killed civilians, have hiked fears that the two sides simmering in conflict could escalate into all-out war. And this is why I disagreed a while ago. Can't remember who it was I disagreed with. Shit, somebody was talking about the conflict in the Middle East, and I was like, it's not a war, it's just a minor conflict. Speaking to Israeli troops on Wednesday, Israeli Defense Minister Yoav Gallant said, "We are at the start of a new phase in the war. It requires courage, determination, and perseverance." He made no mention of the exploding devices but praised the work of Israel's army and security agencies, saying the results are very impressive. Now, what I also did say is that if they keep scaling up, right? If they keep, what do they call it? If they keep escalating, then yeah, it's gonna be fucking war. It's growing. It was a minor conflict. Now it's like borderline actual war because Iran is contemplating declaring war. If Iran declares war, it's fucking game over. That's World War III. Fucking game over. The pagers were made in Taiwan, shipped to Lebanon. Somewhere along the way, Mossad intercepted the shipment and replaced parts, or they were at the factory. Not sure. Oh no. I guess whoever's running the search engines want people to see information about the pagers. Yep. In Wednesday's attack, several blasts were heard at a funeral in Beirut for 3 Hezbollah members, and a child killed by exploding pagers the day before, according to Associated Press journalists at the scene. An AP photographer in the southern coastal city of Sedan saw a car and a mobile phone shop damaged after devices exploded inside of them. A girl was hurt, and in the south, when a home solar energy system blew up, the state news agency reported. This comes from World News. World News. Interesting. Fucking interesting. Yeah, I mean, my position's always been the same on that. We need to just back out of that shit and let them do what they're gonna do. Because if we issue a statement, if the United States issues a statement to the rest of the world, like, hey, look, if these motherfuckers are going to continue to escalate, we don't back them anymore, let them fucking do what they're going to do. Guaranteed World War III doesn't start. The only way World War III starts is if we get involved, right? Iran can declare war, but the moment that we go to their aid, it's on like fucking Donkey Kong. Everybody's gonna join in. And it's gonna be fucking boom shakalaka. I don't think it would be immediately result in a nuclear conflict, although I do believe that it would be fucking bad for everyone. So, they need to stop fucking escalating shit. And by escalating shit, I mean killing innocent people. Start making more tactical decisions. Fuck, you're doing it on purpose. We're not stupid. Exactly. If they do that there, they can do that here. They can do that anywhere. Anyone can do that anywhere. That's the fucked up thing. That's why I don't think America should be sitting there getting involved in everything. We need to sit back and fix the shit that's already here. Can you hear the drums of war? Yep, I can. I can indeed. Can indeed, and I don't like them. Although, if it happens, and I get conscripted into the military, well, so be it. Looks like that's a new game to play, right? Ensure my own survival. And not necessarily at the, cost of others. But Napoleon isn't the only tactician with a fucking brilliant mind. I'll just put that out there. The world better hope that we don't have to go to war, because if I have to get involved, some shit's going the fuck down, and that shit's not gonna last very long. That's all I gotta goddamn say about it. 'Cause I am the ninja. I do not fuck around. There is no fuckery here. You will hear of wars and rumors of wars, but see to it that you are not alarmed. Such things must happen, but the end is still to come. Yes, Bintalk, indeed. Indeed. Well, Amanda, how did I get the nickname Ninja? First off, realistically, my friends have always kind of referred to me as a ninja because I've always done parkour, so I've always been kind of ninja-like. But for a long time in my adult life, I've been, by choice, personally isolated from a lot of people because a lot of people are full of shit. They're backbiting assholes, and I'd rather just keep the real ones around and let the other ones kind of fade out into the darkness. Right? So, I do a lot of shit by myself. And one time, right at the beginning of my parkour business, when I was teaching my cousin at the park, some other guy that has kids in the neighborhood that asked me to teach his kids walked up, and when he asked me to teach his kids, he specifically referred to what I was doing as ninja stuff. And so I've kind of jokingly made it a thing since then. You know what I mean? So it's been kind of an internet joke, kind of a real life joke, but more of an inside joke. If you get it, if you get it. If you don't, you don't. If you know, you know. If you don't, that sucks for you. And anybody that asks, you can always just be like, well, that's classified information. You see, that's on a need-to-know basis, and you do not need to know. Oh, ha ha! Ah, shit. No, generally I'm pretty open book. Sounds like a fun dad that saw you doing parkour. Yeah, it was. It was. Basically, he was just looking for something for the kids to do after they got off school. And he was like, well, I'm not gonna fucking, they don't want to do any of the fucking school sports. They don't want to fucking blah, 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 blah. You know what I mean? He made up all whatever excuses their kids don't want to do. And then I guess one of his kids in the car, while they were driving by, saw me teaching my cousin, and one of his kids was like, I wish I could do that. So he got off his couch, came down, and fucking, after he parked his car, whatever, went and hung out at his house for a little while, because I saw the car that he was in drive by. It had to have been 20, 25, 30 minutes before he fucking walked down, and he was only 7 houses down the street, so it's only a 3-minute walk. Right? Now, I'm assuming he had some shit to take care of with his kid, whatever, get his kid settled in and fucking hang out for a second, maybe help him out with his homework or something, I don't know. But, dude fucking came walking down the street, he was like, hey, how much would it cost for you to teach my kids that kind of ninja stuff? And I was like, shit, man, I never thought of that before. Fuck. We can work something out, and that's how it all started. I mean, that's how the parkour business started. How parkour started was developed the ability to walk. That's basically how parkour started for me, as I developed the ability to walk. From that point on, it was like my parents were just fucking, let's go hiking, let's go here, let's go there, mine shafts, fucking Starved Rock in Illinois, goddamn Meteor Crater, Grand Canyon, Sycamore Creek, fucking Four Peaks, you name it, goddamn everywhere. Use your little legs, but my feet hurt. Suck it up. Damn it. Yep. Good times back in the day, I tell you. Good fucking times. Still good times, but, you know, it's a lot more work now. It's not so much all play. Yeah, anyways. Shit. Doing parkour is one thing, having the vision and dedication to turn it into a business is another thing. Props. Well, Bintalk, it kind of fell into my lap, right? Like, I didn't really have the vision before it was, like, apparent that it could be one. Because for a long time, I convinced myself that it wouldn't be even profitable to try it. You know what I mean? Like, growing up, I didn't pursue it as, like, a full-time thing, right? Because, like, parkour's always been a hobby. It's never been, like, until, 2019? Was when I started it, right? That's how long it's been a business for me. And so, all the time before that, it was like, you know, a hobby. It was just something I did for fun. Kind of like streaming, right? Kind of like going on Verbal Combat. Like, I don't take the reward money on Verbal Combat and put it back into memberships for the chat for a reason. It's all just fun for me. I'm not trying to compete. I mean, I am trying to compete, but it's like mentally competing for the win and competing just to have fun are two completely different things, and I don't compete on Verbal Combat to win. I compete to have fun. If I just so happen to win by a proxy of having fun, well, then the chat gets, the chat gets my win, right? That's how I see it. You're so close to the Grand Canyon and still haven't seen it in person? That's wild. It's wild, because I'm moving right next to the fucking Grand Canyon on the 1st of January. Yeah, I'm moving out there too. I will be not far from the Grand Canyon either, probably like a 30-minute drive. But, yeah, I mean, like, and while parkour is in and of itself a part of my business, it's not the main part of my business. Like I said, like I've said before and I've said multiple times, most of my clients are older people. Like, I do a lot of range of motion and basic human movement stuff with older people, so that they're not like cramped up or, hunched over or in pain. I try to correct their posture the best I can, right? And alleviate all of the shit that they deal with at least a little bit later on in life, right? So that's the majority of my clients are like older people, late 50s, early 60s, sometimes mid 40s to early 50s, but usually it's like anywhere in between like 57 and 65. It's one of the places you can go into a verbal arena like Verbal Combat. Exactly. Exactly. So, I do. Congratulations on moving. I hope everything goes smoothly. I hope so too. I fucking truly hope so too, because holy shit. Lots of golfers probably. Golfing destroys their back for most people. Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does. Golfers and ironically tennis. I get a lot of people that play tennis, Bintalk. Which I could imagine. that twisting motion, probably surprised I don't get more baseball athletes. It's kind of the same concept, right? But yeah. So that's how my fitness business works. It's like, and then like have a small farm that I live on. And then fucking now I have a business where I build airplanes. Let's fucking go. Shit. That's actually what takes up a lot of my time. There's a lot of paperwork going into this. So that's one thing I want to go into also, is there's a lot of fucking paperwork that goes into this business, building airplanes. Because I have to get like fucking certifications and fucking all kinds of other stupid shit to be able to do it. And, well, it's not hard, right? It's time consuming. Because the FAA fucking takes forever to get shit done. Like, if it's not a fucking pilot's license, it's like, they take for fucking ever, and I know they do it on purpose. They do it on fucking purpose. This is part of the reason I'm starting this damn business. Kind of force their hand to look at it. Stop sitting back and be lackadaisical fucks and be like, you know what? Alright, fine. Now we have to reassess the entire fucking situation because more and more and more people are having access to fucking vehicles that don't require a pilot's license. Son of a bitch. Somebody's circumventing our shit and we need to re-look at what's going on. So when they have to reorganize what's going on, well, it's gonna change the face of how we travel entirely. May not be right away that you see everybody in the fucking sky, but you see more and more as time goes on. Because who wants to sit in fucking traffic when you can literally take off from your goddamn driveway, fly to where you need to go, land in the parking space, and vice versa back home? You don't have to worry about some fucking lithium-ion battery going haywire while you're in the fucking sky setting your flying copter on fire, or your little pilotable drone, and then you fall to the ground in a fucking, pluming ball of colorful sparks and explosions. Nope. Shit runs on regular gasoline. You could literally land at the gas station, pull up to the pump, refuel at the fucking pump, and go home. It's how it's designed. Why? Because I'm a fucking champion. I'm not stupid. I figured out what the hell. You can do this. Like, people do this as a sport. Right? They build their own little, whatever, experimental plane, and they fucking do this shit as a sport. And I'm like, man. You realize there's like tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people out there that would just love to fly one of those, but don't have the time to build it, don't have the money to build it, don't have the, to get on, don't have the money to get the materials to machine the parts, or, like, don't have the engineering knowledge or whatever the fuck, aren't confident enough that it'll work. They want somebody else to do it that is confident, that has all the right certifications, etc., yada yada. There's a lot of fucking people that would love the opportunity to just say fuck you to traffic. Can't pull me over, you bitch-ass cop, for blowing that red light because I'm in the sky, bitch. I didn't have to fucking stop at your stupid red light or your damn stop signs. I went from my driveway directly to work and directly home. Kabada bing. And then, of course, it's designed in a way that it can carry more than, your weight plus another 200 pounds. So go pick up less than 200 pounds of fucking groceries from the store if you need to. You're too tired to spell now? That's okay. That's okay. I'm too tired to fucking do anything right now. That's why I stopped where I was. I could have kept reading, but I was like, man, first off, I don't have the visual representations for this, so it's just going to be the animations looping over and over and over again. And, on top of that, like, before I started my stream, I've had this headache just slightly developing over time. And since I fucking stopped reading. I've basically had my eyes closed, even though they're behind the shades, for pretty much the entire time I'm not reading. Just because it's like, light sensitive. Holy shit, that shit hurts. Hurts the back of my head. LOL, Damien, yeah. LOL me. LOL me. Shit. I will benefit my goddamn people if it takes every breath in my body and every last fiber of my fucking being to get the shit done. I will get the shit done. So, the move will go smoothly because I say it will. That's basically what I was getting at. So many vehicles get recalled makes you worried about the next one you even buy? Okay, so that too, Amanda, let me point that out. All new cars are trash. Oh, your center console is open a little bit. Car won't start. You're out of windshield wiper fluid. Car won't start. You got a rock in your brakes. Car won't fucking start. Oh, it didn't download. It didn't fucking download that update the right way. And so now the memory is corrupted. And your car, you guessed it, won't fucking start. Like, holy shit. You know what happens in an airplane? When you hit the ignition switch and you spin the propeller, the fucking thing starts. What a wild concept. Holy shit. And then, you know what else you have to deal with? To run the fucking vertical takeoff and landing fan? You know what else you have to do? Oh, a car battery. That gets recharged by the alternator from the fucking engine that's running your propeller. Oh shit, what an easy concept. Like, literally, dude, holy shit. It's like brain dead science. Brain dead mathematics, dude. It's like, let me just take the most rigid shit I can find and combine it. Put it together. Make it super lightweight but damn near indestructible thanks to new technology and new materials. And just revel in the beauty that is the engineering mind. I hate that they have all these keyless start garbage too. No kidding. No kidding. My airplanes will obviously have a key. Because there's nothing like the good old click, click, chick. When you turn there ain't nothing. Nothing better than that. It's going to be like one of them 80s cars. That overly loud click when you put the fucking key in the ignition. It's just sounds like gunshots going off in the fucking neighborhood and all you did was put the key in the ignition. A lot of the recalls are due to trying to make everything electrical and digital. Yeah, fuck that. Nope, we're staying analog. I have half a mind to make the goddamn control surfaces fucking pulleys. Just pulleys and wires, buddy. Fuck yeah. Pulleys, gears, and wires. That's how we're gonna do this shit. It's gonna be manual. All manual. Your flight controls don't fail you. Why? Because they're fucking manual. Can't do that for faster planes. That would only be able to work on planes that top out at literally 60 miles an hour, because then anything over that you're starting to borderline the not being able to control the fucking airplane because the force of the wind going over the control surfaces puts too much pressure. You can't move the control surfaces. So, for any of the faster planes, obviously it's going to have some kind of hydraulics or something, right? Mainly because they use electronics in the care to regulate and micromanage too much. So much that it creates more variables for failure. Yes, Ben talk. That, and it's already designed to be obsolete in 6 months anyways. They expect you to refinance. I worked at a car dealership. I know how the shit is suggested to most people. It's fucking... Yeah, and if you trade in your car in 3 years for a newer model, we'll give you fucking blah 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 off the MSRP, and you'll get a fucking $3,000 rebate, and we'll pay you fucking, trade-in value plus 100% or some fucking fucked up shit. And then you go to bring the car in, and they fuck you over, get you logged into some other contract, and they add the difference of whatever was left that you owed onto the new MSRP of your vehicle. So yeah, they gave you all that shit, but they just slapped the rest of it on the top of it. Like, I'm not stupid. Fuck that. No. They just want you to be purchasing an all-new car altogether. That's only going to last you 3 years, and it's going to have all kinds of problems, both mechanical and electrical, that you're going to have to take to the dealership, because only the fucking dealership can fix it, and then they can capitalize on the parts too, because they get to do the markup. Fucking assholes, man. Fucking assholes. Yeah, well, the dealerships are going to have to deal with me too, because guess what? To start off, if I fucking have to, I'll do goddamn in-house financing. I will finance you. As long as I trust you enough to fucking make damn payments on time and you have a big enough down payment, shit, I'm willing to finance. You have a 2016, and the year after mine they got rid of the key, or else I would have upgraded to that one. Yep, fuck that keyless shit. I bought my car from a dealership, but I paid cash for a slightly used vehicle. Yeah, see, I always buy used vehicles. In fact, I refuse to buy vehicles newer. I refuse to buy vehicles newer than 2007. 2007 is where I draw the line, and I draw the line hard at 2007. Before 2007, golden. After 2007, fuck that shit. Get the hell out of here with that new crap. I don't want it. I don't want the new shit. But it's cool. No, it's not. All new cars have the same exact design with small variations. They all look the fucking same. Everything's getting very plain. Right? Like, everything used to be bubbly and artistic, and now you look at fucking like places like McDonald's or Taco Bell or Arby's, and they're all fucking like... They look like a damn prison or a bank or a fucking... You know what I mean? Some kind of like fucking... New Age establishment. I really don't like the New Age aesthetic. It's fucking minimalist, not artistic at all. It's very lazy. My engine went out and a new one was covered, but I had to pay for the rental car for 8 months before they actually fixed my car. It was an issue with a ton of... Damn it. Yeah, that sucks. You have an old Mazda Model 3, bought for $3,400, then got a $1,400 in repairs made. Been driving it for a year and a half. Hell yeah, that's what I'm talking about. It's been a great deal. You have any newer cars or just made cheaper? Dude, I've had the fucking same car. Like, when I get a car, I fucking own that shit for like 6 years, dude. And I always get my car super cheap. I think the most expensive car I've ever bought was my 2002 WRX. And I bought it for $6,100. Like, that's the most expensive car I've ever bought. The most recent car I bought that I got rid of was a fucking... just a little shitter. It's a fucking Scion XB I got for $1,600 to fucking... at a, like... impound lot junkyard place or whatever. Right? And fucking... That I had that car and it ran for fucking like 6 years, dude. Car was the shit. It was a little scooter. A little scoot booter, dude. It was my cubicle. Fucking hated that thing. I had like a love-hate relationship for that car. It was faster than it should have been. Like way faster than it fucking should have been. And there were a couple of modifications that were done to it. But it was totally like your shit car. You know what I mean? Just the car you take out and you beat the hell out of. And I beat the hell out of that thing. And it just kept going. Just kept fucking going, man. But that's what happens. It's a 2004. So it's like, I draw a hard line at 2007. I won't buy anything post 2007. It's not worth it in my opinion. I can fix all that older shit. I know how to fix all the older shit. I don't know anything about the newer shit with all this computerized bullcrap. Nope. Get it out of my garage. Bye-bye. Thank you. Come again. Shit. Well, guys, I think I'm gonna have to call it on this one. This fucking headache is getting really intense, and I think I should go fucking do something about it. That being said, I hope you all have a wonderful night, morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are in the world. Enjoy your time, because it could be limited. You never know what could happen. I mean, shit, there could be a fucking solar wind on a scale that we've never seen before, and it just blows the atmosphere clean off the planet. We all just suffocate to death and freeze to death and burn to death at the same time immediately. Immediately. Just vaporized by nature and the universe. All just a happenstance, and we wouldn't even know it was coming. So, enjoy your time, because you never know what could happen, even though it could be some kind of cosmic, nonsensical bullshit like that just came out of my mouth. It's still a possibility. It's not infinitely improbable. So, enjoy your time. Damn it. You had a Honda Civic, Amanda? That was good? Yes. Been talking nice. A Mazda RX-7. Nice. Velocity of getting a Mazda or Honda. That's what I'm talking about. Right on, guys. Alright, well, we are going to go ahead and get this outro started, and I will see you tomorrow night at the same time, 12:30 Central Standard Time, for more Napoleonic Wars. More war crimes and less pee-pee choppy choppy. Have a great night, everyone. Much love. I'll see you later.
I just wish he knew. just wish he knew.